Alright, so turns out Eagles' newly acquired linebacker Nicholas Morrow may not be starting after all. According to a couple analysts, we might expect GM Howie Roseman to go off script with a major signing at linebacker. Plus, Reed Blankenship just got completely disrespected. And who else can we expect to start at the other safety position? But first, let's run it. What's up guys, I'm Josh and I cover the birds. So let's start by congratulating Eagles legend Brian Westbrook and Lane Johnson on being inducted into the Senior Bowl Hall of Fame this past weekend. Obviously it goes without saying, but two incredible legends right there. Speaking of legends, Kelce is hosting his third annual Beach Bash celebrity fundraiser to support the Eagles Autism Foundation at Ocean Drive in Sea Isle City, where he and his brother Travis will be bartending in an effort to raise money. The event looks like a whole lot of fun, so I've got to imagine it's an awesome party to attend in person. Plus, this year Jason will be competing in a beer chugging contest for charity, but don't beat yourself up about it if you can't be there.
I'm not going to beat myself up over that.
Well, at least don't beat yourself up like Jalen Hurts has been after the Super Bowl. In case you hadn't seen it already, Kelce went on Jacob Sports saying Jalen still beats himself up for this play or that play. Yet Kelce has tried to cheer him up saying, dude, you had the best performance ever for a quarterback in the history of the Super Bowl. You did just fine. At the same time, Kelce admits understanding how Jalen feels, saying the reality is when you're that guy, you're really a competitor. You think you control stuff. You don't want to acknowledge that somebody else influences an outcome like a field or officials, because once you start doing that, you start devaluing who you are and who we are. I think we all agree that Jalen is one of the best, if not the best leaders in the NFL right now, so while I think Jalen could be a little easier on himself after the Super Bowl loss, I love his accountability and leadership, and so does Eagles All-Pro Lane Johnson, since Jalen's maturity is exceptional. He does a good job getting our guys fired up, and when he speaks, there's a lot of substance in it. I just continue to see him climbing and climbing. Paved Lane also went on to compare Jalen to other quarterbacks he's played with, like Michael Vick and Carson Wentz, but said Jalen is unique and it's the intangibles that really set him apart. One of those intangibles, as Jalen alluded to on an interview with the AP Pro Football podcast, was there's a thrill in not being satisfied. Because I think it's safe to say Jalen is never satisfied.
You always left me satisfied and smiling.
I'm sure by now most of you have seen the report about Micah Parsons comparing Hurts to Giants quarterback Daniel Jones, or prominent national media members sliding Jalen's ability and ranking him incredibly low, but that's fine. They can keep hating and our guys will keep working. While we're talking about working, Eagles wide receiver Quez Watkins has continued to pop up this summer with another video surfacing of some workouts ahead of training camp. I know it's not much, and yes, like I've admitted before, everyone can look good in a 30-second clip, although it is promising to see the work Fast Batman is putting in, and hopefully he'll be able to win out that wide receiver 3 spot. But what do you guys think? Will all of this work amount to anything, and is the jury even still out on him?
Case closed!
I still say Quez will be the guy, but it's not like it's a guarantee or anything. And talking about starters, CBS Sports' Jeff Kerr doesn't think newly acquired linebacker Nicholas Morrow will be a starter for the Birds by week 1, saying he doesn't even have a guaranteed contract. He doesn't have guaranteed money. I do think they're going to at least try to add somebody. Kerr also said it feels very similar to last season before GM Howie Roseman went out and got CJ Gardner-Johnson to solidify the safety spot. He's not the only one who feels this way, since the Score's Brandon D just knows Howie Roseman will acquire a game-changing veteran in August. Okay, he doesn't actually know, nor did he say specifically for the linebacker position, but it is very interesting and something I know several of you have mentioned in the comments, as well as I've been mentioning over the past several weeks. Although I think Morrow can be serviceable and play pretty good, I think it'll be either Christian Elliss as the starter or someone else that Howie brings in. So the question is, who will that guy be at linebacker?
I don't know.
What do you all think? Well, according to The Athletic's Bo Wolf, Patrick Queen is the popular solution after the Baltimore Ravens signed Roquan Smith to a long-term extension and used a third-round pick on Clemson's Trenton Simpson. Queen is entering the final year of his rookie deal after the Ravens declined his fifth-year option this offseason, and he's also been somewhat underwhelming relative to his draft pedigree through 3 seasons. But he's never missed a game and turns 24 in August, so perhaps Baltimore would look to part with him. That would honestly be my top pick for adding a linebacker if we we were going to do a trade, although The Athletic also provided a list of potential free agent targets if Howie decided the price was too steep for a trade, listing guys like Rashaan Evans, Miles Jack, Quan Alexander, Deion Jones, Zach Cunningham, and Jayon Brown round out that list. This feels like the more realistic route Howie would take since we all know how little the GOAT values the linebacker position. I've talked about several of those players in the past, but to me, Zach Cunningham is who I'd want out of free agency. He's got a bigger frame, so can offset some of the size Nakobe Dean gives up. Disclaimer, I think Nakobe's going to be awesome, but it never hurts to have a little more size in there.
Pause.
At only 28 years old, I think Cunningham has more left in the tank, and it feels like one of those signings that's a low-risk, high-reward type of deal. But what do you guys think? Pro Football Focus's Brad Spielberger would probably say I'm crazy to doubt Morrow since he really likes the linebacker and can't believe Philly got him for a minimum contract. Spielberger said, I didn't think he was going to sign a huge contract, but I thought it would be similar to Kaiser White last season. A one-year, $3 million deal with some incentives, that type of contract. The cap expert didn't stop there though, saying, I wouldn't be shocked if he had a better offer from another team, but if it was $500,000 more instead of $1.2 million, and maybe $500,000 was guaranteed or whatever the case may be, that basically just guarantees you a spot on the training camp roster, and not much else. So basically you have a guy in Morrow who came here because he wants the spotlight to play a bunch of games in primetime and play behind the best defensive line in football after playing behind one of the worst last year in Chicago, where he can build his cachet to get a better contract after the year. And Spielberger thinks Morrow will, since he's a consistent player. He can play Will, he can play Mike, and can do a lot of different things. He's a good football player, so the contract wouldn't scare me too much, but I understand the concerns with the no guaranteed money part. That's fair, and that had definitely been one of my concerns, but I still think it'll either be Christian Elliss or a free agency signing.
And I mean no disrespect.
Maybe I'm throwing too much shade Morrow's way, but another Eagle who's completely being overlooked is Reed Blankenship, after Joe Castro of Philly the podcast leaked Blankenship's Madden rating is an abysmal 64. I'm sorry, I get the occasional slight to a player, but this is absolutely criminal. I guess that's what happens for a guy with a nickname Ghost. Sometimes you get noticed, but most of the time you just fly under the radar. One group who isn't forgetting Ghost is PFF, since they listed Reed Blankenship as the X factor for the Eagles, with Blankenship entering 2023 with a great opportunity to start after a surprising rookie year in which he finished with a 79.4 overall grade. He earned an 89.4 run defense grade, fourth best among qualified safeties, and made some plays in coverage, including an interception on Aaron Rodgers. The Eagles will still have an elite pass rush and excellent outside cornerback play. They need Blankenship to be the glue in the middle. I agree and think that he will. Sure, you could argue Blankenship's sample size is small with only 4.5 games taking over for Gardner Johnson, so can we expect him to play at that level this season? Plus, he's not the most athletically gifted safety, but I'm really excited about seeing Reed in the starting role this season. And let's not forget, so is James Bradbury, after he referenced the trust and relationship with Blankenship as being one of the exciting elements for his return to Philly.
I love you, man.
If it's good enough for All-Pro JB, it's good enough for me. Maybe I'm wrong, but how do you guys feel about the Ghost? The bigger question we should be asking is who's going to start at the other safety spot? If you followed the channel, you know how I feel about rookie Sidney Brown by now. I think he'll eventually play his way into the starting job alongside Blankenship, but newly acquired safety Terrell Edmunds shared about his determined approach on a recent interview with the Second Wind.
Man, just go out there and prove it to myself that I'm the type of player that I claim myself to be. Really go out there, just put everything out for everyone that I'm working with every day. Like, you don't got to really ask me for nothing. Like, I'm going to go out there, I'm going to give you everything I got 110% of the time.
Yeah.
I'm going to go out there and go as hard as I can. I'm going to do whatever you need me to do. I'm going to go out there and I'm going to put everything on the line. And I think that's just the biggest thing. I just want to go out there, prove it to myself. Of course, I had some great years in Pittsburgh, but now I'm an Eagle now. So now it's like, boom. You was a great Steeler, so what you gonna do for the Eagles? And it's just like, that's my mindset, going in and giving 110% and put myself on the line again. Fresh air.
It's a breath of fresh air for you.
Fresh
Like
air.
just new start, new scenery.
Start, new scenery, new teammates, just getting adjusted again. And then it's just like, now it's all on me. Because all the stuff that, the good, the bad, the indifferent that happened in Pittsburgh, none of that matters anymore. Now everything that matters is what happens from today on out. I haven't played a single game. So now, from the first game into my last game as an Eagle, this is my new legacy.
He definitely sounds motivated, and don't get me wrong, I think Edmunds can play well and add a lot to this defense. It's just that I feel that Sidney Brown is going to eventually win out. Perhaps Desai tries to utilize all three in a 3-high safety look at times, but what do you all think? The other piece of news that came out yesterday is that the Eagles' alternate white Kelly Green jerseys were leaked. Stop me if you've heard this before. Okay, nothing was actually leaked because despite what you think of the alternates in that photo, they're apparently being sold via a bootlegger site, probably in China or somewhere like that, since the shipping was said to take a couple weeks. But every time this type of news breaks, it only gets our hopes up to have another letdown. Hopefully they're revealed soon because I need something to get me excited in the dead of summer. This has been the Philly Special.